In every generation, there is chosen one girl in all the world. She alone will review the movies, TV shows, and books of geek culture. I am the chosen girl.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I just thought I would make a video kind of going over my thoughts on the current Disney Plus Marvel TV shows. So we got WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, and now Miss Marvel. And right now I'm really loving Miss Marvel. We're only 3 episodes in, and this is my second favorite of the Disney Plus shows after WandaVision, which I loved. And so I kind of just want to go over my thoughts and reasons why I think it's the second best show so far, and talk a little bit more about how I feel about the other shows. So to me, this show is more focused and has a better narrative that has been slowly building over these, and it's only been 3 episodes. Rather than feeling kind of rushed, like I think some of the other shows have. This show is all about Kamala and her family and community, and learning what it means to be a superhero, and it's really tied into her family heritage. And I just feel it's more of a central focused narrative and end goal, and I feel like we can kind of see the progression of where this is all going to go, and we have great characters that they continue to build off of each episode, right, with the Nakia storyline of her becoming the board member, and Bruno with his schooling, and Kamala learning more about her powers and her family. And I just feel like it's been building off of each previous episode, and it has some good fun energy to it. It's got really heartfelt moments and talks between Kamala and her parents. So I just think that so far within these first 3 episodes, the show has done a much better job than some of the other Disney Plus shows have, in terms of getting to know the character and where the character might go, and learning about the character's powers. So I just think that's why it's the best so far of the Disney Plus shows. Now, WandaVision is still my favorite. I love WandaVision so much, partially because I do like sitcoms, and I'm a pretty decent big sitcom fan, and so I really appreciate them kind of going through the different eras of sitcoms throughout the episodes of WandaVision. WandaVision was also 9 episodes, but they were kind of slightly shorter length episodes. But what WandaVision did great is that, it's all about Wanda and her grief, right? She has grief from, her parents dying in the Stark bomb, from her brother Quicksilver dying, from losing Vision, to the explosion at Lagos, to the being dusted in Infinity War. I mean, she's just had all of this kind of terrible things happen to her. And this show, kind of uses that, and it's her trying to create this world where she can live happily because she can't deal with her grief. And throughout the episodes of that show, she does kind of learn a bit more. And at the end of that show, she lets everybody go and learns to, deal with her own grief and what that means, and how she can handle that going forward, which is kind of why I don't really like what they did with her in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. She kind of went from 0 to 60. I don't really like that, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But I really do think WandaVision really kind of focused on that one narrative of being Wanda-centric, while also introducing us to some new characters and recurring characters, right? They brought back Agent Wu and Darcy, who we liked, and other stuff, and we got introduced to Monica Rambeau, and I think they did a really good job there. And of course, Vision. Paul Bettany's always great as the Vision, and then they brought in, her 2 boys, and so I think that show also had a similar kind of narrative progression. And then of course we had Agatha Harkness, who, played by Kathryn Hahn, who's amazing, and can't wait for her spin-off show. So I think that, and because it was dealing with these specific styles of the sitcom, I think it really worked, and it was a progression. And it had a pretty satisfying narrative conclusion, revealing she's the Scarlet Witch, and letting everybody go. And so I thought that was really great, and I love Wanda ever since Age of Ultron. I think I love Age of Ultron more than maybe most people. And so I've always loved the character, and I was so excited for her to get her own show. And maybe that's why I love WandaVision the most. And obviously Elizabeth Olsen is an amazing actress and crushes everything she does. And that really helps the quality, the caliber of acting in that show really kind of helps the quality of it. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I really liked. I liked the arc that they gave Sam and Bucky. I sort of like what they kind of did with the new Captain America and his kind of arc also. I really liked bringing back Sharon Carter. And I don't know what her deal is. I hope we get her again as the Power Broker. But my problem with Falcon and the Winter Soldier is that Sam and Bucky's character arcs go well together. But I don't know how well they mesh with the villains and the commentary that they're trying to say about the government and everything. Like, we get some of that with Sam, and, I mean, his character arc works really well when we learn about the other character that had the secret soldier serum and was kind of discarded. I forget his name right now, I'm sorry. But it's played by Carl Lumbly, who is a great actor, who was on The Flash, or, who was on Supergirl. And so I really liked what they did with him and what they did with Bucky. And Bucky's sort of redemption arc is really, I think, kind of well done in the sense that it reminds me a lot of the character Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He feels, even though he wasn't in control, he still feels really guilty and a lot of regret about what happened, what his body did while he was not able to control himself. And so I like showing all of that. But the villains were really bad. And it's not that they were really bad. It's that I don't know. They just didn't work for some reason. I think they did have a decent point. But the fact that they got the super soldier serum. And then you have to bring in Zemo. And they're busting Zemo out of prison. There was kind of a lot of weird stuff going on with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then you bring in the Dora Milaje. And it just didn't feel like it was super focused on a specific narrative, goal, and message. And I think that was kind of a part of why a lot of people didn't love it as much as I think we wanted to, right? So that's kind of, and I really do like it, but that's kind of, I think, its main overall weakness was the villain and how that all connects to the overall plot narrative. Loki, I think is okay. I think I like it less than most people. I was never a huge fan of the Loki character to begin with. I know a lot of people just love Loki anytime he shows up. I also thought Loki sort of lacks from that real narrative focus, right? We kind of don't even know what the show's about or what it's leading up to until like the last episode or last two episodes. And it kind of does a switch. It's like, we got Loki, but then we need to hunt a Loki, but now the Loki is a female, and now she has a different thing she wants to do, and then Loki wants to help her, and it's a little too much, and then we got all these other Lokis, and then we got, a He Who Remains version of Kang, and I think Jonathan Majors did a great job of He Who Remains, and I think he'll do amazing as Kang and Ant-Man and the Wasps. But I do think it kind of lacks that narrative focus and structure. It feels like we're kind of jumping from episode to episode. And I really think the 6 episodes is maybe either too short to really tell the story they want, or if they're stretching out very thin storylines over 6 episodes. That Loki could have just been a movie, to be honest. I felt it was pretty stretched out. I did like Owen Wilson's character. I thought he did a fun job, and I liked seeing classic Loki, Richard E. Grant. So, there were some good elements in Loki, but overall, to me, it just didn't work as well. And then Hawkeye, I think I like Hawkeye maybe more than most people, mainly just because I loved Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. And I've always liked the Hawkeye character, Clint Barton. Hawkeye, though, really also does suffer from a lack of focus it really feels like Clint and Kate up to shenanigans in New York, and you got the nonsensical buffoons of the tracksuit mafia, and then we're throwing in Echo, and we're throwing in Yelena, and Kate's mom is the villain, but she's actually working for Kingpin, and we're just kind of tossing, and then we got the LARPers, and we're just kind of tossing in all these things that kind of, don't really, it doesn't build properly to where the end is going, the end of Hawkeye, I mean, and it just kind of suffers from that. I mean, what really saves it, in my opinion, is Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner together. Whenever they're doing scenes together, it's a great show. And it's got a great cast. I mean, I love Vera Farmiga. I wish her character was better. I don't know anything about the Echo character, but she wasn't particularly, didn't stand out or likable. I love Yelena Belova, honestly. She probably could have been in it more, would have saved it. The LARPers, could have left them. They were just too goofy. And then the whole thing is about the Watch, yet they don't ever deal with the Watch until, like, the last episode. And so why bring that up so early? It just kind of feels like ideas. We'll just sort of throw it all together and get to it when we get to it. It doesn't just have that, it doesn't have a good narrative flow to it. But I still actually enjoyed it quite a lot. It also takes place around Christmas time, and you have the Rogers musical, which I enjoy. So there's good things in Hawkeye, but it just didn't do, I think, as well as Disney would have hoped. Now, Moon Knight, I actually did like Moon Knight. So I would say Moon Knight's probably their third best show. I mean, you got Oscar Isaac, right? Who's always a great actor. You got Ethan Hawke, who's another really solid actor, and he's playing the villain, and he does a great job. So you have a really good cast, and I think that my main problem with Moon Knight, I guess, is not enough Moon Knight-ing. Not enough of Moon Knight in the costume, action scenes, and it's not really about them, being a hero, I guess. There's really, the hero's journey is not really there. It's kind of lost. It's really more of a character study of Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, which is good. That makes for a good story. I like it. I just wasn't what I was expecting, and I also think we could have, I think episodes 1 and 2 could have been one episode, episodes 3 and 4 could have been one episode, and we could have had a couple extra episodes there to really kind of fill out the rest of the season. Because I think everything, the Indiana Jonesing in Egypt, I think could have all just been one episode. I really liked episode 5 in the underworld and the hippo character. And so I thought that was all a lot of fun. I thought the ending of it with the giant Khonshu and the giant crocodile god, I think, was kind of cool. But, does nobody watching this? Or people are not concerned about giant, avatars in the air fighting over the pyramids? And again, we did this loss of, Stephen Grant, but then he just gets him back, so it's not a big deal. And that's kind of, if it had, maybe he had to go an episode without Stephen Grant, right? And learn from that could have been really compelling, I think. But we don't get that. So, episode 5 is really the most character development we get. It's not a really good progression of either Mark or Stephen. And then we get a couple very faint hints of the third personality, Jake Lockley, until the end credit stinger, which I kind of think was maybe a mistake, unless they're going to do like a Moon Knight 2 or bring him into something else. So I think Moon Knight is a good show. I think that there are some sort of pacing issues that I have with it, and there's a few plotting issues. It really could have just been an Indiana Jones adventure, but we're throwing in all these other things. And also, it does introduce us to more gods, right? But how's that going to play in with the rest of the MCU? And I think so far the Disney Plus shows haven't really done a good enough job telling us in terms of the timeline of where these take place and referencing some of the big events that I think would be concerning to people, like giant Egyptian gods fighting at the pyramids, or in Eternals, the giant celestial sticking out of the ocean. I mean, we kind of touch on, in WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we touch on the aftermath of the blip from Endgame. And that was, good to explore and see. And there's a little bit of that in Hawkeye as well. But I don't think it does a good enough job. I mean, what about the events of Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange with the whole multiverse things going on? Where does that come in? So I do think there is sort of an overall lacking. There's an overall lacking in the grand scale of the MCU on these Marvel Disney Plus shows. And, I mean, some of it could just be solved with some, quick line drops. You don't have to have big spectacles all the time. But I just think that there's been sort of a consistent lacking of narrative flow and plot with a lot of these shows, where I think that's what Ms. Marvel is getting right. Some people might not like that it maybe is too teenage girly, or that it doesn't sort of really feel like the MCU. I think it feels like the MCU. I think it fits right in with the Spider-Man movies or with Kate Bishop, so that doesn't bother me at all. But I really think that this is probably, in terms of developing characters, this has definitely been one of the better shows that has done that. I think Hawkeye did not do a good job developing any other characters. I mean, I like Kate Bishop just because it's Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop, and she does a great job. And they did a decent job with Hawkeye himself, but you don't really care about the mom character or Kingpin or the Echo character. And I don't think Loki also didn't do a very good job character building. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I mean, we already knew Sam and Bucky, so we're already kind of endeared to them. I don't think it did a great job with the villains. It actually did a decent job with Sam's sister. I liked her. And then I think WandaVision, again, kind of, you knew most of the characters, but I think it did do a good job introducing us to Agatha Harkness and Monica Rambeau. So those are kind of my thoughts and opinions on the Marvel Disney Plus show so far. I would rank them as WandaVision, Ms. Marvel, if the last 3 episodes are as good as the first 3. Then I would go Moon Knight, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, maybe Loki, and then Hawkeye, or maybe Hawkeye then Loki, because I really do love Kate Bishop. So that's my ranking so far. I'm very excited for the upcoming shows like She-Hulk and Secret Invasion and a few of the other ones. So we'll see if they continue to get better or not. One quick thing I did want to point out was the ratings for these shows. So WandaVision had a rating of 1.6 million, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier had 1.8, and then Loki had 2.5. So it did go up with those first 3 shows, but I think the sort of lacklusterness of Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki kind of tempered people's expectations, and because Hawkeye dropped back down to 1.5 million. And then it did go back up to 1.8 million for Moon Knight, which, again, was really good. But it really dropped for Ms. Marvel, didn't even crack 1 million. It got 0.78. So those are kind of the viewership numbers of the show so far. I think they're pretty reflective of sort of the overall opinion so far. We'll see if Ms. Marvel can bring the numbers up, maybe. We don't know. But I'm very hopeful, and I really think the show is going to end pretty strong. I really do enjoy it a lot. And like I said, it's my favorite since WandaVision. And I do plan on maybe at some point reviewing the MCU as a whole, starting from the beginning with Iron Man. And so if I do that, then I can go into the shows with a little bit more detail. But for now, that's my general opinions on the MCU Disney Plus shows. I hope that they can continue to get better. Disney Plus needs to up the episode length numbers. 6 episodes is not enough. And they also need to make sure that they have it all planned out and have a story to tell before they just start, shooting things and telling stories that maybe don't really need to be told. well, I guess we'll see how it all plays into the bigger MCU and that ties into the movies. So those are my thoughts right now for the Disney Plus Marvel shows. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like the video, be sure to hit the like button, the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you are interested in Miss Marvel reviews and other content such as this video or movie reviews. So thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you later.